This is called altostratus clouds. I like to call them mackerel clouds. They look like scales of a mackerel fish. You can see the repeating patterns. So they're a medium level sheet. If those scales are small, it means that warm weather is due to come within 6 to 12 hours. If those patterns, those scales are large like this, cold weather is coming. I'm looking outside right now, I don't see any clouds, but if we had clouds, I'll bet you it would look like this. Because the warm weather from up near Buenos Aires and Montevideo is coming south right now. Okay, so it's a little pattern, warmer, large pattern, colder. This is cirrus vibratus, so it's a sheet, a very, very high sheet of fibrous cloud, very high winds. And you'll notice that there's a grain to it. One layer is left to right, the layer below that is up to down, and they cross each other. They glide over each other. Blocks of wind at a certain speed don't really interact with each other. Now this is where I start having PTSD about fluid dynamics and Reynolds numbers, and that was a third-year physics course I never want to repeat again. It's sort of like organic chemistry. It's awful. But it's something interesting you should know about. The flow of air, packages of air of different density will do different things. They slide on each other. This is stratocumulus, right? So a sheet of lumps again. If they're small like this, warm weather coming. What you're looking at here is the white caps of waves. So we look out at the ocean, and where the waves break, there's a little bit of white foam. You are the starfish at the bottom of the ocean looking up, SpongeBob SquarePants, looking up through the ocean here at where the warm air you're experiencing is interacting with the colder air up above. The colder air is more dense, it's sinking through the warm air. The interactive layer is the waves. Again, when it's small, it's warming up. When it's larger like this, it's cooling off. Has anybody ever seen clouds like this where it looks like maybe a salmon or maybe a feather? Somebody just lied to me to go with it. Oh yes, you've seen it. Yeah. This is cirrocumulus stratiformis. So it's a flat sheet of lumpy, it's a very high lumpy sheet. And this is a transition cloud. This only lasts for 15 minutes. It's going from one type of cloud to the other. Usually the way that clouds transition is they go from one height to the other, or they let go of rain. Clouds that come along towards the mountains will let go of rain and exchange that for height to get over the mountains. Or in the case of the Andes, they go around and make the Drake Passage, well, normally cranky, but this time smooth. This is called a cirrostratus nebulosus. This is when you have ice crystals very, very high up. In Canada, we call it a sundog, but it's technically known as a perihelion. This is a rainbow, but instead of being diffracted by drops, where we give you the full rainbow, the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, Roy G. Biv, the ice crystals only can bend the red and the yellow light. So that's why the rainbow is just red and yellow. Has anybody ever seen this? If you go up to Iceland, they have them quite a bit. Canada as well. This is stratus nebulosus. This is a fog belt. What's neat about this is that if the land is below freezing, when this fog comes in, it produces hoarfrost. Terrible name, I'll be honest. Terrible name.
I've seen it.
But you've seen this? It's wonderful. It's a photographer's dream. It becomes unusually quiet.
Like icicles hanging off of beds.
Oh yeah, and every surface has this fuzziness. It's an old English word, hoary, means grizzled or with a beard. So I guess I'm your hoary naturalist. Oh. This is altostratus translucidus. So it's a medium-sized sheet of semi-translucent cloud, and it's responsible for more sailors' death than any other cloud. Because when this thing is on, it'll be on for 5, 6, 7 days in a row. You can't see the stars, you can barely see the sun, you certainly can't see the moon. You lose your orientation. The Vikings figured this one out. The Vikings learned that there's a stone called Icelandic spar. It's a calcium oxide kind of stone. It naturally polarizes light. When you have this stone, you look at the sun through it, and you rotate, the two images of the sun will rotate exactly around where the real sun is, so they can get their angles right. The Vikings were smart, most of those fellas. This is altostratus panis, so a medium sheet of panning clouds. You can start to see the big wave formations. The really big wave formations. These are cloud waves that are upwards of 4 or 5 miles across. Altostratus undulatus, a bigger wind wave. The storms are getting more energy. They're getting more organized. more kinetic energy there is and potential energy, the more likely you are to result in something cranky. In between the different cloud formations, though, usually it'll go to a transitionary phase like this. This is stratocumulus stratiformis, literally blocks of clouds that are rising up quickly. If they rise up high enough, they'll get to a layer in the atmosphere where the density of the gas, of the moist air, stops rising, and they form an anvil head, right? You know, blacksmiths with anvils. And this is a sign that you should probably finish up your golf game or your picnic, that kind of stuff. Because there's huge parcels of moist air cycling, going past. And much like your grandkids on Christmas morning with their wool socks on the carpet, going, psh, that's what's building. Okay? Sometimes these storms will accelerate in how they exchange kinetic energy for potential energy, energy of height. So much so that they actually calve, just like glaciers. So here's the main storm here on the right. There's another one on the left that is calved off, cumulonimbus cavus. So it's a lumpy rain cloud that's breaking apart. Eventually, though, it gets to a terminal height, a height at which for the area is the maximum where water can be in its liquid state or its vapor state, and it starts getting fuzzy edges. This is really when it's time to get the picnic packed up. Okay? Because what happens next with all that energy, all that static electricity is kaboom. Now, has anybody here ever been very close to lightning? Yeah. It is an unbelievable experience. Has anybody here been hit by lightning? Everyone, you've been hit, or very close? Yeah. Every once in a while, I've had, it's called candling, where it hits the tree or hits something next to it, and it'll actually instantly vaporize the moisture in the bark. And all of a sudden the tree is naked. And it's just like, wow, it's unbelievably loud. As a general rule of thumb, people will have said 3 steamboats, right? The flash happens, 1 steamboat, 2 steamboat, 3 steamboat. This is wrong. You are not safe at all. The speed of sound in typical air at typical temperatures and typical pressures is 343 meters a second. That means that it can travel the length of the cruise ship in 1 second, speed of sound. That's 1 steamboat. If you go 1 steamboat, 2 steamboat, 3 steamboat, that's only a kilometer. That's not even half a mile. So if you want to be sure, you see the flash, you need to have 10 steamboats before the boom happens. And then you're getting on the safer side. The problem with that, though, is that NASA's satellites have recorded lightning strikes that start on one end of the storm and will travel 7 or 8 miles through the cloud to hit the ground. It's spooky stuff. Lightning scares the religion in and out of me. I can see why the ancient peoples thought this was Zeus or Thor or somebody, Ukalak or whatever their names are, throwing bolts down. And it was terrifying. Tesla talked about how if he could tame the energy of 1 thunderstorm, he could run a city for a year. And he was right. But it's massive amperage, massive voltage, massive current. It is an instantaneous Niagara Falls of electricity. What happens sometimes too is that before the rain comes, the storm starts to cycle. And you get a cloud formation like this. This is altostratus mammatus. Is anybody from the Midwest, from Tornado Alley, say? You ever seen this? Now the name is kind of funny, mammatus. It does mean what you think it means. Right? The root word is mammary, of packages of jugs, that kind of stuff. I love Dolly Parton, she's wonderful. But it does mean what you think. This is the storm starting to form little cells to start to rotate. And eventually you get something like this. This is a tornado, but really it's called a vertical tuba. And tubas, much like the are a hollow tube in the middle. This is hollow on the inside. This is the low pressure system, which is why it's condensed. It has a condensation. Low pressure means cloud, high pressure means clear. Out here, though, is the important part of the cloud. The incredible high pressure. This is cycling. It's going up and down, and it's also doing a rotation. They're generally called wall clouds as well. In Alaska, if you ever come up to Alaska, or in places near glaciers, like if we were near the Skua Glacier and you were there for many, many, many days on a nice warm day, you can actually see these. But instead of being vertical, they're horizontal. This is called a roll cloud. So air in top of a glacier will cool, super cool, comes down, hits the warm, moist air around the ocean, forms condensation and rolls back. And these large cigars just roll past. They don't do any damage, but it's amazing. This is my favorite. This is called lenticular cloud. Think of them like lenses in your glasses. Okay? They form when wind comes across the landscape and is suddenly forced to go up or down. They form at the tops or on the bottoms of valleys. Once that pressure returns to normal, it goes back to clear. And I think they're amazing. But the thing about them is I think this is where we get a lot of our UFO myth from. Because at the end of the day, at sunset, if you saw something like this, these 3 tornadoes, another one forming, or maybe even something like this, does that not look like an alien spaceship? Yeah. My favorite version of this, though, is called a rainbow lenticular. Now, ignore this mushroom stalk here. This is a rainbow lenticular, sometimes called an accretion cloud. It's when the cloud is just transparent enough that light can go through and it's scattered. It's not a full rainbow, and the rainbow repeats in a funny way. It goes from yellow, peach, to pink, to teal, to green, and then over and over again. It's the same phenomenon as butterfly wings, or oil slicks, or mother of pearl. It's a scattering of the light in a different way than, say, the bending of light with a rainbow. If you ever see one of these, please take a picture. I would love to see it. I've only ever seen this a handful of times in my life. Now, let's get to the good part of this show. I don't have much time left, so it's going to be a little quick. This is the part that's all about spaces in the clouds. This is a real cloud. It happened in France in the 90s. I've seen a couple different angles of pictures. It lasts about 15, 20 seconds. There was a short video clip. It was one of those shoulder mount video things, so it wasn't very good. But that's clearly Winnie the Pooh. Right? How about this photo? What do you see? Yeah. What's interesting about this photo, and it sort of says a little bit about human psychology, most men will see a female face. Most women will see a masculine face. Most folks that are under 40 see somebody who's in their 60s. Most people in their 60s can't see that far anyway. They see somebody younger. Okay. How about this one? What do you see here? A bird or a dragon or a Pokemon or something like that. How about this one? Yeah, Hugh Hefner's cloud there. Yeah, I like that one. How about this one? I should press play on the music. Do you see the Wicked Witch of the West? Right? She's got her hat, pointy hat, her little crooked nose and her smile, I can see in my mind's eye the monkeys flying off of her tower. If you saw that, odds are you're over 40. If you're under 40, especially if you're under 20, they haven't seen the Judy Garland's Wicked Witch of the West, Wizard of Oz. They've seen the new one, the Wicked. Yeah, they don't do this scene the same way, right? What's interesting, though, is all of this phenomenon of pareidolia is a quirk of our mind. This is an optical illusion for the mind. There is no rabbit here. There was no teddy bear. It's just clouds. But our mind is always looking for patterns in the world, and it sees things sometimes that we find amusing or spooky. If you ever look at mannequin faces tickle you in something called the uncanny gap, if I could use Vsauce's YouTube reference, where you just suddenly, you kind of have this weird, creepy feeling of just, it's not a face, but it's a face, and so you default to danger. What's interesting is that 1 out of 30 of you in this audience right now has no idea what I'm talking about. Your mind doesn't work this way. And that's okay. It's all right. It takes all types to have a village. And so I found a cloud that is universally appealing and everybody can see it. Are you ready for this cloud?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. If you look in the middle, you can see the face. For some of us, like for me, this is how easy it is for me to pick out these faces. For some of you, you have to be primed. You have to talk about it. You have to have seen a few of them. For some of you, you'll spend a day photographing clouds and not see a thing. When you get home and take your photos and put them on the computer, then you see them. So, let's do some of that. So, Merla and Michael, this is last year's Antarctica, sent me this one. They said, it's the USS Enterprise. And they've done the best job. They've sent me the photograph. They've given me their name, they've said what it is, and they've sent me a little clip of what they think. Yeah, okay. I mean, the original series is the better one anyway. Joyce sent me this one. It's a small iceberg bird. I immediately wrote her back and I said, Joyce, you're wrong. It's a cruise duck. Nancy sent me this one. It was she says, a dog looking at Sapphire Princess. This is Antarctica 2 years ago. I couldn't see it. I looked at this thing. I looked over here. I emailed her back and said, please send me a cartoon or a drawing on a napkin, anything. You ready to see the dog? Look at that. Isn't it amazing how it just pops into existence for you? Or not for you guys? Oh no, there's a TV there. Yeah. I'm not used to these TVs, and I don't see them on this side. They're just dark. Kathleen said, this is Ushuaia. We were there. And she says, the Princess Cruises Sea Witch logo. I didn't see it. I have this weird science nerd brain, and so I was seeing these stacked lenticular clouds geek out about that. She's like, Robert, I put the logo. I'm like, I don't see it. She said, why do they pay you? It's right there. Well, I guess Princess sponsors the weather sometimes. So this is from Princess Cruise passengers in the past 12 months. This does not include everybody who's submitted from this cruise. I am going to take everyone who submits photos of the clouds from this cruise, turn it into a YouTube video, load it on YouTube, and then put it on the Facebook group for this cruise. If you don't know what I'm talking about, on Facebook there is a group where I think 400 or 500 strong of folks sharing photos and having a good time. Just look up Sapphire Princess. What day were we in San Antonio?
December 6th.
December 6th until whatever we get ready to go on the 22nd. Okay? You can join up, it's fun. So here we go. This is Janine. Janine sent me this picture and she said, it looks like my bird. She must have had some sort of a parakeet, maybe the feathers. So they don't have to be earth-shattering photos. Glennie was very impressed by the first square cloud she'd ever seen. Kind of a different cloud, right? Lily was a little girl. She was about 6 years old, and she couldn't see these things. And so one of the tricks I know as a teacher is you start talking about what's in that person's life. And so she had just had a brand new puppy. Well, lo and behold, you see puppies in the sky. And then we started talking about, what sort of things you're watching on TV or the internet. And she was learning about a documentary about space. And so she started seeing astronauts everywhere. And it was hilarious. This is where I connected what's on the tip of your mind is what you see, that we are pattern recognition machines. Do you not see ducks everywhere you go? Right? Marty was trying. He ate the evidence, apparently. Carol couldn't see critters in the clouds in the positive, so the outline of the cloud. It was spaces in between the clouds. I can't see that. So I had her draw the cartoon. Apparently it's somebody, there's a cartoon called Doug, I guess, a kid's cartoon. This is the character from that show. Noni was a lovely lady. She was about 9,000 years old, and she was going for it. She wanted to seize as much of life as she could. She must have bought the wrong ticket, because she obviously was a Holland America passenger. She's on Princess, and she couldn't see this stuff. And so we were in Cartagena, Colombia. There's a nice little zoo right by the port. If you're ever in Cartagena in the port, go to the zoo. It's amazing. And we were looking at little primates, right? Monkeys and gorillas, that kind of stuff. And she finally saw one. Do you know what she saw? Yeah, look at that, right there. Right? Judy was a bit of a trickster, a bit of a joker, a bit of a cheeky lady. She said, I have Hugh Hefner's cloud. And I went, oh God, here we go. I've already made the Dolly Parton joke. I'm gonna get written up for that. Well, this one she saw, do you see the bunny? Right? And even as a white little cotton tail. Right? The more you look at this stuff, the more you let your imagination go, the more you see. Sandra was in Valparaiso. We didn't do Valparaiso this cruise time, but we did last year, and there was a grass fire north of town. It was May the 4th, which is sacred for the Star Wars nerds. May the 4th be with you. So she saw a stormtrooper helmet. I think she was inhaling some of the fumes because that's stretching it, man. It's fun. It's all an alert, right? Angela has it so far. This has been the best photo I've seen this past year. You've heard of the new ships Princess has, the Sun Princess, and now the Star, right? No, the best and newest ships that we have are of the Cloud Princess class. And in fact, if you look right here, the Cloud Princess is on a whale watch, right there. They must have a better naturalist than me. I couldn't find a well to in my life today. So if you like this sort of stuff, if you have photos of clouds, please send them to me. Right? I love this sort of stuff. Show me